Hello, everyone. It's good to see you here. So let me know if you can see and hear me. All right. And yes, favorite verse or quote that you like to come back to. Thanks, Stephanie. That helps keep you, focused on truth. That helps you remember, what you're doing, why you're doing it. I know a favorite for me is do not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So it's like we might not see those results right away, but we need to keep persevering in being faithful in what we're given and trust God to take care of it in His timing. So, yay. You can continue looking up the reference for it because I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. I often have the esv.org as an open tab. Yes, for this is God's will for you, your sanctification, right? There we go. Good. All right. And I'm going to come back here too and pull some of these because these are great. Yeah, memorizing the reference is the hardest part. So good. It's good to have you guys here and to be talking about this today. Because especially this is our 6th week in our homeschool term. So we're holding out for break week. But yes, there we go. It's Galatians 6:9. Very good. Thanks, Tiffany. But especially after kind of that strong start has worn off, we've got to have some handholds, little grips to return to truth and return to why we're doing what we're doing, to keep moving forward after, sometimes just the newness of everything and the excitement of starting helps us move forward. But once that's worn off, we still have to move forward. We still have to do what we need to do. And we need to put into place strategies that will help us keep our eyes focused on Christ, on doing these things for His glory instead of our own. And, honestly, I think sometimes those harder days, the times where the newness and the freshness has worn off, those are even the better days for us. They don't feel good like the strong start days, but that's really where sanctification starts to happen. So, it's kind of don't despise the day of small beginnings. It's like we just got to take that next step. And it's good to be in the humble place, the place where we have to rely on God's strength and not our own. It's good to have our own strength worn out so that we don't have it anymore. And that's not what's moving us forward. Faithful, not perfect. Yes. Moreover, it is required of stewards that they be found faithful. Right. So doing what we should be doing, not because we feel awesome, because we think we're, just because we're going to do the right next thing, because it's what God's asking of us right now. Right. Whatever is true, whatever is right, think on these things. That's really good. So I think having verses like those, or maybe quotes, having them at the ready, easy to grab a hold of, can help, because it's really easy for our feelings, our emotions to kind of take over our response or just our perception, to look around and have, the fact that we didn't get enough sleep or things didn't go our way in the morning or whatever, to really skew what we're seeing happening. The same thing could be playing out in your home, but if you've had enough sleep or you have already had some prayer time, some time in the Word, then that same unfolding of events looks like a different story to our perception. it feels different, it looks different when we're focused on truth than when we're focused on ourselves and focused on how we wanted it to be, how we wanted it to look, how we wanted it to. Am I back? My screen went too. Okay, sorry about that. At least with Crowdcast, it can reload and hopefully reconnect. So thank you for holding on there. Yeah, something went wrong on my end. So I don't know where it cut out exactly. So, but sometimes our idea of how things have to go in the morning for us to stay on track or for things to, unfold well, it doesn't happen. And then we can easily, like, we wouldn't say it out loud, but we assume, well, now it's just going to be a bad day because I didn't have my quiet time, or because the morning I didn't have any time alone in the morning. I accidentally slept in, or I on purpose slept in, or, everyone has a cold. There are always, potential excuses for feeling like, well, now this day is shot. We can't expect this day to get turned around. But, that's part of what we are called to do. We have to help our children turn it around when they kind of fall, whether in their work or their attitude. Same for us, our work, our attitude. We've got to turn it around when we realize that we are spiraling, or we are thinking that because things aren't going our way, we can just be fussy, internally fussy, or just wait for tomorrow. Sometimes everyone else seems grumpy when it's really us that are, and trying to act like we aren't. And so we see it in everyone else. I don't know, that sometimes happens here. So yeah, my internet must not be great today. So yes, letting go of my idea of what I need is what we do have to do, because what we have is what we have, and it's from God's fatherly hand. And we have him, and we have Christ. So we have what we need to obey. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it is what we're called to do, and it is for our sanctification. So having some easy ways to grab onto truth and turn it around, whether that's a motto or a memorized verse, or a verse on top of your binder or on your clipboard, or some kind of quote on your bathroom mirror. Those quick nuggets, or, a text in the morning, right? An email in your inbox, something where it pops up and you see it and you're like, oh yeah. So you kind of reorient yourself. And instead of saying, okay, I need to reserve and take, half an hour or whatever to pray in the morning, which is a good thing to do. But if it doesn't happen, that doesn't mean, well, I guess I'll have to wait till tomorrow morning to pray. It's like we need to also be just building in those kind of reflexive prayers, like, oh my goodness, I just realized I'm in a bad attitude, and kind of let it go, which is so hard and takes prayer. It takes asking God to take it from us and turn it around. So those little, they're like triggers, good triggers that remind you, this is not about me. This is not about me. This is about God. And so I can let go of trying to make this about me and how I want it to be. No, I have not read the Screw Tape Letter for Unappreciated Mom. I'll have to look into that. Yes, I think that was it actually today's podcast on Simply Convivial, the Simply Convivial audio. It is today's. is about mottos. So there you go. Good timing. Those are the morning time mottos. So just having those little things that you can just roll off of your tongue, even if it's repent, rejoice, repeat, right? Having those kind of quick things that can just pop into your head or roll off your tongue, or something like the repent, rejoice, repeat printable thing that you can find on simplyconvivial.com on the sidebar there. It's a free download where it's just a really quick, big type reminder. Like, oh yeah, that's true. That's what I need to be focused on, and not on myself and my plans and my agenda and my needs. I'll have to grab that, look at that link. Thanks. So one of the ways that I do this, I call it a prep sheet. And I don't know if you guys have any better name for it. I'm all ears because I think it's kind of a confusing name. I call it a prep sheet, like preparing, right? Prep, get ready. Because it's something that is really super helpful to look at just before our school day starts. So I keep mine in my morning time binder so that it's the first page that I see. And this is one of my prep sheets. Pep sheet. Peppy prep. Cheat sheet. Yeah. Oh, here comes the interruptors. Yes, love? So I'll just put this up so you can take a look at it.
What book is your favorite book?
What is your favorite book?
Yeah.
You know what? I will help you spell for your letters after my meeting, okay? Or you can ask Hans. Okay? I'll talk to you guys when I'm done.
Please write in the road for accident.
You can't ride in the road by yourself. Nope. Uh-oh, can't hear a thing. You can, try compatibility mode and try hitting reload. Although if you can't hear me. Yes, the Valley of Vision prayers are awesome. That's great. Okay. Yes. So, okay, can you please, I'll come down and write that for you on your paper when I'm done. Okay, can you go and close the door? Or you can close the door and stay right here. But I can't write right now. Yeah, I need maybe a better name for it. But it has a theme. So I have about 5 of these. Actually, I know I have 5 of them because there's one. These I put together for the Art of Homeschooling program. So these are part of the program. There's one per module. There are 5 modules in the Art of Homeschooling. So they each have a theme and they have a reminder up at the top. And these are things that they're mom focused for everyone. Suck it up, Buttercup. That's a good one. As homeschool moms, we must be self-directed and independent learners. Like that's our kind of goal for our kids, right? But we can't just be trying to foist that off on them. If it's a good should all be, then that starts with us. So that starts with, being actually interested in what we're doing while homeschooling. I don't know, half the time my mind is wandering off somewhere else. But it's like, I've got to be paying attention and here in this present moment, learning with them, because there's stuff for everyone to learn in all of our lessons. And then on this section, I have a couple Proverbs, a whole section from Proverbs 3, which is about wisdom, like whatever you get wisdom. And fear the Lord and turn away from evil. Be not wise in your own eyes. Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. And then there are a bunch of quotes after that from different books that to remind myself, because this is specifically about homeschooling and looking at, what I believe about education and homeschooling, to remember that at the beginning of the day helps have that truth fresh in my mind so that then, hopefully I can turn it around when I start acting in a way that's actually contrary to what I believe. So like the Charlotte Mason quote, do not let the endless succession of small things crowd great ideals out of sight and out of mind. Sheets are really a way for me to practically do that, to keep those great ideals and truth in sight and in mind, because it's in a convenient, easy spot to look at and read. And I usually have about a minute or so, just a minute, before morning time starts, where I sit down, I have my binder, I can open it up and turn to one of these pages. Yes, it is. Life is full of so many small things, but all those small things build up to something big. And to remember the big thing that all those little things are building towards helps us appreciate those small things and choose the small things that are building what we want to build, instead of sometimes focusing on those small things, or even our small pity parties, our own small worries that are in small, little, but significant ways tearing down the house that we're trying to build. So life is full of small things, but some of the small things build up and some of the small things are actually tearing down. That's another Proverbs about a woman there building. How does it go? A wise woman builds her home, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. So sorry, Heather, that's too bad. Yes, The Taming of the Shrew, we're reading that in school right now. So that's a fun one. And then, quote like this one has one from Bob Schultz, who wrote Created for Work. It says, God works and made us to work as he does, joyfully, creatively, heartily, with overflow. And so, I could just look at that and see those words and then try to move forward with those words in the back of my mind. It's okay, joyfully, creatively, heartily, artistically, with overflow. And think, okay, that looks like something. And in those small things that I do, that can make a big difference in the way I approach those small things, in the way that I move about my day. It's so helpful. So having, whether it's something like this in the morning time binder or on an index card, something that I encourage while you're working through the art of homeschooling is to come up with some of your own statements after you work through some of the material, to kind of summarize in a short, pithy kind of way. And I have formulas to kind of help you put that together, where you pull the adjectives or the verbs or the whatever that really speak to you and pull them together into a formula, which, you can write out on an index card and then put on your clipboard, put on your bathroom mirror, put in front of your sink, put it somewhere where you see it, and to not just let your eyes glaze over at it, because that happens, but to like make that a focus point. Like when you're here at this spot, washing your hands, washing the dishes, looking at your to-do list, you turn your eyes toward that motto that you wrote for yourself with the words that are really speaking to you, and often a Bible verse as well, and think about it. And so it's really brief, short meditation that's super practical and not abstract and not hard to do. It's as simple as training yourself to look at the thing and read it, and, even pray it. Say, Lord, help me be that. Or Lord, give me that grace right now. Lord, thank you that you provide the grace. So, to find these ways that help us, really learn how to preach to ourselves, to tell ourselves truths, to fill our mind with truth. Hopefully the feedback that you're hearing is not just little munchkin over here breathing and sighing. You may not have that. No, close it up. It'll poke you. So yes, the notes everywhere. It's not maybe the best home decor advice, but it's the best mental sanity advice that I've found, to just have those things in focus spots. So it's not like a reminder I have to tell myself, or I'm in a funk or whatever, and I have to like then stop and pull myself out of it. That takes a lot of willpower to do. And so to have the habit basically of looking and reading truth and focusing on it for 30 seconds doesn't really pause the day, but it pauses your mind and reorients you. You know, seek the things that are above and not on things that are on earth. So that's lifting up our eyes, focusing on truth, on Jesus, on stewarding rather than grabbing. And it is really, really helpful. And then it's modeling for our children too. And then those thoughts that we're feeding on, what goes out. So unless we have ways of putting into ourselves words of truth, ideas of how to change our attitude, and then actually doing it, if those are the things we want to be teaching to our children, that's a coming out of us. It has to go into us first before it can come out of us. So we have to have not only a time set aside for reading the Bible, but also these just pauses built throughout the day to focus on truth, to focus on Christ, and to say, okay, this is what it's all about. It's not about me. It's not about my plans. It's about me being faithful with right now and what's in front of me, and not making it look like maybe necessarily what I wanted it to look like, but just loving my people, loving my God. And so it's like a stop point and say, okay, well, what's that going to look like right now? It might not look like what I wanted it to look like, you know, and sometimes that means it might not feel like what I wanted it to feel like. It might not include, you know, the tasks that I wanted to get done. And, you know, it's just kind of offering, keeping that plan held with an open hand, and having those visible, practical, short reminders posted in some kind of strategic place is super helpful. So I actually have a prep sheet, and I know lots of you here already have it, but I have a prep sheet like this that's for free, and you can find that at this link down here where it says Repent, Rejoice, Repeat. I'm pretty sure I set this up. I'm pretty sure that goes to the post about my prep sheet where you can download one. Oh, well, you can download a free one, but that's right. Do I have the free? I do. At the bottom of the page is the handout for the free prep sheet that you can download at the bottom. But then the page that you click, if you click Repent, Rejoice, Repeat, it opens up to information about Repent, Rejoice, Repeat, R3, the kind of accountability group that I'm running for the art of homeschooling. And we're going to start next Friday, so about a week and a half from now. And it's free for everyone who's already an Art of Homeschooling member. So if you're already in the Art of Homeschooling, then you should already have received an email about it. And if you didn't, you can send an email to me and we'll figure that out. But sometimes in the email system, people don't always get tagged like they should. So if you didn't get the email, just let me know. But everyone who is in the Art of Homeschooling, and you can join at any time, and it's a lifelong membership in Art of Homeschooling, but we're going to do a live community work through of the program. So it's a 5-module course. So we're going to take 5 weeks focusing on 1 module per week. There's a live Q&A chat or video chat like this on this platform on Friday. Well, actually, that's the part that I still need to schedule. I haven't figured out exactly when to schedule those, but there will be a chat. And texts if you like texts or emails with motivational, those little motivational or inspirational, insightful nuggets to help us stay focused. But one cool thing that I didn't even realize I could do with those texts that I send out is, and it was a setting I had to turn on. So I turned it on, and you can actually reply by text to any of those automated texts, and they go to an inbox on the text thing. But you can reply, and you can text me as a response to any text that I send. And anyway, it goes into this inbox. So I think we're going to have some kind of accountability set up with that text portion for those who want it. So it'll be like, reply to this text if you have, this, that, or the other thing, if you've made your card, your truth card, text me a picture. And it's cool because receiving texts doesn't cost extra. So even with this mass texter program. So I've got a play date for the 13th. Okay. You know what? I actually probably what I'm going to do is send out an email to everyone who's already signed up, who signs up within like the first 2 days, and get some feedback, because I know some of the times and dates that I've picked before have not worked for most people. And then other times tend to work a lot better. For interval intensive, they were Fridays at 7:30. The kickoff workshop for this, for R3, as I'm calling it, Repent, Rejoice, Repeat. The kickoff one is a Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific, because that's our break week. And so I can do a time in the middle of the school morning. So I'm going to do 10 a.m. and that's 1 p.m. for Eastern. So that should be good for nap times and stuff. I can't do that every week. I can do that for that week because it's break week. And then we leave for our women's retreat Friday. So it has to be Thursday. So anyway, yeah. Yes. So you should have an email, Stephanie, for signing that up. Co-op on Fridays. Okay. Yeah. And it might be Saturday mornings too, because well, I have to make sure that our weekends aren't taken. Anyway, it's surprisingly tricky. And maybe this time I'll set it up so it's at a different time. So maybe different people can, if one time doesn't work, maybe another one will, instead of having it always be the same. So it's going to always work for the same people and never for some. That's what I'm kind of playing with. So I'm really excited because I think revisiting the Art of Homeschooling material in October, November is perfect because the days start getting a little colder, maybe grayer. The freshness is worn off. We're kind of in the grind mode. Maybe that we're half run down from colds or whatever. And we just need that something to re-energize us. And the best thing to re-energize us is not fresh plans, but meditating on truth and really focusing on building those relationships with our kids, which Art of Homeschooling is about, but not in a touchy-feely kind of way, because that's not the way I am, but in a very, matter of fact, grounded, and a focus on like, well, as the mom, we're the ones setting the example. So instead of being irritated at the kids about that, you've got to look and say, okay, but that's what I do. So if I want them to change, I have to be the first to change. And that's part of relationship building, is being on the same team as them, basically being humble, walking alongside them, saying, okay, this is something you've got to change, but it's something I've got to change too. So we're going to do that together. We're going to work on this. That's really what Art of Homeschooling is about. So I'm excited. Yes. Oh, then ask them to pray for me. That's a great idea, Heather. So I would really love it if you could join the accountability group as we work through Art of Homeschooling together. There will be texts. Then troubleshooting, helping each other troubleshoot as well. So I hope that you can join us. Click the green link right there that says Repent, Rejoice, Repeat. And I'll talk